I fast forwarded through it.
Oh my God, Sue! What's up, everybody? My name's Nick.
I'm Sue.
And we're here to give you
a reality check.
Yes, let's do it. Survivor 49, episode 9. As you can see, we are missing a very important puzzle piece of our reality check here. Josh is away for the next 2 weeks, but don't worry, we have a very, very special guest for you today.
So I would love to be able to introduce my partner in crime from season 47, my girl, Caroline.
Hello. Oh, I am so honored to be on this podcast with you both.
We're thrilled to have you
here. This is your reality check debut. We have talked so much about you on season 47. We were very, very big fans here on Reality Check, and we are so honored to have you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I am thrilled to be here. I feel like this has been such a big part of Sue's life since the end of our season. So I'm just so thrilled to be able to be a part of this.
That's awesome. And we're blessed to have you. We're thrilled to have you.
Caroline, I would love to just start off with your overall feelings, your vibe. How are you digesting, tasting, loving, smelling this season?
I would say this season, I'd say, it started off with like a light little simmer. I feel like I was excited. Some things were heating up, but like I was ready for it to get going. And I feel like at this point in season 49, like things are in a roaring boil right now. Like a lot of stuff is happening. So I am feeling fully engrossed, excited, ready to taste like the stew or ramen or whatever is coming out of this like boil that's going to happen. I don't know. I'm just thrilled. So I think it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of very interesting gameplay lately, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
It's like
for
pretty
sure.
Cool
do you have
list
any
of characters?
Yeah. Speaking of characters, do you have any favorites, least favorites? Who are you rooting for? Have you had some of your favorites go home already?
Okay, in terms of some people who I've been really enjoying, I mean, especially these past 2 episodes, like Rizzo has just been absolutely killing it. So I feel like I'm just someone where I adore and love watching phenomenal strategic gameplay. And I feel like Rizzo right now is doing a phenomenal job at that. So I've been loving watching him play. And okay, also like Sage just has such a soft spot in my heart. As Sue might have mentioned, like Sage was the alternate on our season. And I feel like I got like such a great impression from her behind the scenes before our game started. And to see her like absolutely kill it and just consistently episode after episode be on the right side of votes. Like I'm a huge Sage fan.
Yeah, you can't be. I'm really proud of her too. And Caroline, does it make you wonder what effect she would have had on our season if she actually wasn't the alternate?
Man, that's such a good question. And it's interesting because I feel like, wow, I wonder who she would have gelled with the most in terms of the different tribes on our season.
Yeah.
I think if she was on our tribe, if it was Sage, me, and you, I think we would have absolutely hit it off. We would have had such a great time.
100%.
That would have been so good. It's interesting to think about those dynamics that might have come up.
Yeah, every time I see Sage or anyone who is the alternate, I'm always wondering how would that have changed our whole season? Caroline, especially like I feel like with Sage too. I just remember there was a moment when we had all gone on that long boat ride for media, and our whole boat got very sick, and it was after we were coming back and. She was so upset. I remember sitting on the floor and me and her were holding hands. So I felt like that bonded us more than anybody else on my boat. And I think so that makes me wonder if, moving forward, if we would have still been close. But again, I don't know, but I always wonder how that would have affected our whole season.
I think so. I think it's one of those things where your genuine first impression of someone, it really does leave a mark. And even if like, as you get to know someone, they end up being very different from your first impression, like you remember what your first impression is. And I do think for a lot of Survivor, like people who are watching Survivor, they think our first impression of people is when we actually, like day one, we're on the tribes with them. And, you know, that's when we learn the most about people. But in reality, our first impression of people is during pregame in the first few days before we actually start the game. And my first impression of Sage was that, like, she just seemed like a badass. Like, she just, like, something about her radiated, like, confidence and, like, security and strength. And she was someone where my first impression of her actually is I was like, okay, she seems cool. I want to work with her. Like, I wonder if she'd want to work with me. I don't know. I wasn't sure of, like, what she would be like truly, but it was definitely a positive first impression.
Yeah.
And after seeing her on this, like, season and the way she connects with people, her authenticity, I would have loved to work with her. And Sue, I think she would have loved to work with you too. Like,
Yeah.
I think, like, she just loves, like, people who are authentic,
Yes.
people who are true to themselves. And Sue, that is you to a T.
Oh, same to you.
And I'd say in this episode, it's just so interesting too to see how alliances are starting to shift. There's some people who are still staying with their day ones and staying with the people who they have been locked in with since the beginning. But starting this episode, we're starting to see a little bit of, like, some maneuvering, a little bit of, like, people kind of exploring different opportunities. So it is very interesting to see not only once you stay strong with someone, but, you know, the game definitely evolves.
That's a great segue into the next portion and the beginning of this episode. I just have to talk about this moment where everybody comes back and sees that MC is gone. And it's, instead of being, oh my goodness, Sophie, we're so glad to see you, it's, oh my God, Sophie's still here?
Yes.
Oh my God, talk about things shifting and alliances shifting. In that moment, I would be like, you know, I would be out. I would be gone.
Yeah. That's got to be hard for Sophie to hear, right? And to come back knowing that everybody thought she was going to be gone. Like, I can't even imagine, you know, what that feels like. It had to be horrible.
Yeah, it's a really tough feeling. I think that there are a lot of moments in Survivor that, depending on how you look at them, can be these silver linings, can be these secret blessings, because at that moment we kind of saw this almost like breath of relief from Sophie of being like, you know what? Screw all these people. I was stressing myself out about keeping my alliances happy and this person, that person. I'm going to do what's best for Sophie, and I'm like a changed woman. So I loved this dynamic of her just kind of being like, forget it. It sucked in the moment. I'm going to have my feels about it. I'm going to sleep by the water tonight alone, and I'm going to get on with it the next day, you know? So, and she's a beast. Like, I mean, she is a sturdy woman in these challenges, like, which we will get into.
Yes. Can we also just take a moment to appreciate the fact that, like, MC is a personal trainer. MC is so incredibly strong and fit and a badass. And people were like, yes, we have, like, a professional trainer, personal trainer. However, he is the threat here physically. Like, Sophie is the one we got to be worried about. And I'm sure, like, behind the scenes, there's something about, like, people just have probably had, like, stronger strategic relationships, personal relationships with MC. But, like, you know, Sophie is such a beast when she's considered to be more of a physical threat than MC.
And she's so smart too. She's playing the game.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see MC go home last week and kind of how it unraveled, because in my brain, MC was way more connected than it feels like the edit is giving her credit for, in a way. It didn't feel like as impactful for as long as I wanted it to. Like, they had their moment by the fire, and then, like, nobody really mentioned it again, being like, now that I don't have MC, especially with Steven, and they were kind of like number ones, and Christina, like, they were close. So the aftermath wasn't as rippling as I was expecting it to be. But we do see a lot of people capitalize on it, like Savannah, Rizzo, and Soph, kind of keeping their little trio slowly clawing back up the ranks. How are we feeling about Savannah, Caroline? I have to know, because she has been a very touch and go, tumultuous character on this season of Survivor Online. So I would love to know your opinion.
Absolutely. Well, I think Savannah is someone where I really did appreciate learning more about like herself and kind of what are some of the reasons why, or like just what she's had to go through as a person. I think like no matter what, everyone who's on Survivor has a very interesting, compelling story. So I'm glad we were able to hear that from Savannah. And we heard about it at a time where I feel like, I don't know, I enjoyed when we heard about it. I feel like sometimes we get people's like backstories too early in the season where like I really don't care. Granted, hers is like traumatic enough. I think I would have definitely cared, but like it came at a very good point, I think, in the season. And in terms of just like getting to know Savannah as a person, or like as a person through the show, I think she is someone where there can be a few times where I can tell that maybe she gives off an impression of a mean girl. However, if you look very objectively at what she has said and done, I think there's a lot of projecting going on there. I think there's a little bit of potentially like resting bitch face, but people project a lot of mean girl energy onto it when in reality, from what we've seen, there hasn't been much of it. So
Yeah.
I want to be cautious of judging her harshly for also just like being confident and like advocating for herself and like being competitive. I feel like those are traits that casting wants to see. Like I want to see some badass women like succeed.
Yes.
So I would say right now, like I'm a cautious fan of hers, I would say.
I love that. That is the perfect term to describe. I also like my feeling of Savannah because I love a bad bitch. I love a boss woman. I love a girl boss just in my daily life. That's why we were immediately gravitated towards Sue and for all those same reasons. But I do think almost in the same way that for the reasons I was unsure of Shannon, that part of this air and this persona feels a little bit like a barrier. Or maybe it's the way she protects herself or things of that nature. So I, like you, was excited to see a little bit more of the banana peel coming off a little bit. But we'll see. She's still keeping that wall up. She's still keeping that queen bee, raised eyebrow kind of mentality strong for sure.
I did think it was good she let her hair down last week and was, and shared, a little bit of who she is and what happened to her, because I think it absolutely changed a lot of the fans' image of her. Because, for me, like I felt bad for her, for Joanne, when he just couldn't do anything right with her. And, and Caroline, like I told them, I'd pick up a water bottle and I don't know whose it was, and like nothing was ever intentional. And, so for me, I was starting to feel a little bit bad for Joanne and feeling like she might be a little bit of a mean girl. Again, we don't know the whole edit and the whole story, but I told last week, that her story like hit true to me, and we all know what we go through when we're there. And the fact that she was so destroyed and distraught and was willing to let her guard down. She had no choice. When you get to that push to that point where you do let your guard down because you just don't have the strength to keep it up. And the fact that she shared what she shared with us really helped me to look at her differently and at a different light, and just, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see for sure. On a more positive note, moving into a more uplifting and a little fun tidbit that I love about this season so far. One thing that we have talked about a lot on Reality Check is that people in the new era cannot keep a secret. Idols, votes, their opinions, what they're doing in general, nothing is ever secretive. So I have to commend Soph on probably keeping one of the longest secrets of the new era in general of her knowledge is power advantage, because things are only as powerful as much as they are known about. So I think her keeping this so secret, even in her tight threesome of people who have shared their advantages with her, I thought she was going to break this episode, and I'm so glad that she didn't.
Me
because
too.
she is keeping that secret strong, and you never know. I think she's still on the cautiously a fan, we'll use that term again, of her alliance with Rizzo and Savannah. So maybe she needs to keep that advantage a secret, to take that idol from Rizzo, because he's been waving it in front of everybody anyway. So it's really interesting to see that she's actually keeping a secret for once.
Yeah.
And
No, I love it.
It's working well.
And that's
But-
like Caroline. She kept my secret. So
Yes.
you know, like that was pretty cool. So.
I love that.
I
The
got
red
you.
paint. We talk about that red paint idol all the time on Reality Check. But moving away from some of the more strategic portions of the game, I would love to talk about one of my favorite parts of the episode, which is the challenges. We have a very fun reward. We're split into teams, and we're playing for fried chicken, cheesecake, and soft drinks. Personally, this is my curated reward. I love cheesecake, fried chicken, and mashed potatoes is one of my favorite meals, like home cooked meals. So I was like drooling watching this at 10 p.m., like coming home from work, and it looked so good. Did you have a reward, Caroline, on your season that you were like, I hope it's this, I hope it's this?
I mean, all of them. Oh my God. I did not get any pretty much. So like every time I saw a reward, I was like, oh, please, this one. This sounds fantastic. But if there's any in particular that like really hit home, I will say, like, when you hear about the merge feast, like the merge feast, I feel like is something that you just always dream of, and are like, it just is such an iconic Survivor moment. So I will say the merge feast was one where I was like, that sounds nice. I would love that. But it kind of felt like, you know, when you want a reward so much, you're like, oh, this feels too good to be true.
Yeah, well then you guys didn't get one. Season
didn't get
47
one, no.
didn't have a merge feast.
No.
A whole merged feast with everybody. There
Right.
was the winners of the mergatory, but there was no like, congratulations, here's some food for the merge.
Yeah,
which
I think the closest that we had was the one where the episode where Rome went home, where it was like they split us up into two.
Yeah.
It was like the first gigantic reward. But yeah, it wasn't all of us. It was like, since the new era, it's only been half. So it's like, I like that too. Is it even really a merge feast? Meh.
Yeah.
I know it's how-
Yeah.
I know my mouth was watering. The ribs killed me that I didn't get the ribs. I remember that was the day that I needed ribs. And from that point on, I promised myself I was going to try to not listen to the food because it tortured me. So the ribs were what pushed me over the edge.
And I will still forever to this day be jealous of that potato salad spoon that Soul was licking on. But moving forward, we could talk about the reward challenge all day. I would love to just jump kind of to the winners, because we do also have an immunity challenge down the line. We have the blue team who comes out on top with Sophie, Alex, Savannah, Christina, and we don't get Soph on that because she bet on the yellow team, which I think I probably also would have bet on the yellow team just because Christina was on the blue team. I'm sorry. Christina, love you, girl. I actually loved the opening montage of Christina, this episode of her smiling and laughing about and talking about stabbing someone in the back. Loved it. But when it came to putting my money on somebody for a challenge, I'm picking the other team.
But how wonderful was she offering her rewards to?
I wanted to talk about this because, Sue, this feels like something that you would do as a mother, as a grandmother, as just a nice lady in general. I would love to know, kind of, is it strategic? Is it because she cares? Is it a mix? Like,
What do you think, Caroline?
It's because you care. 100%.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I think for her, she absolutely cared. I mean, he was the only person that hadn't eaten, right, in 16 days. You know, and that was like you and Andy.
Sure.
Weren't you and Andy the two people that went the longest without eating?
Yeah.
And everyone should have, you know, like at that point, we all know what starvation is, but we finally get a meal. You know, and when you have someone like you and Andy or like Jawan that's gone that long, you know you have to help them out. And the fact that she did that just totally, I mean, I already love her from the beginning anyways. And I've said this from day one. There's something about her I love about her. And the fact that she did that, and she was so emotional because you knew she wanted to give it to him from her heart. I just love her to death.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed this moment because it did feel real. It didn't feel like there was this malicious kind of strategic intent, even though it's a very public statement, because now if Christina does go to the end, which I have a feeling she may be goated, it's going to be on people's minds. If they put Joanne on the jury, that might be an immediate jury vote for Christina down the line. Even though that's may not what she might be thinking right now, it's going to come up if that, if the chips fall, how they fall. But I thought it was a great moment. While this was happening, I literally was writing, Joanne has lost so much weight, he literally has abs now. And he came in, Joanne's a big boy. Like, he is a big man. And for him to, like, see his cut in his stomach already after 16 days, like, that his body is going through some serious damage. But I loved it. I love this.
I wanted to ask Caroline a question. What did you think about Joanne initially not wanting to accept the reward? Like, would you have accepted it?
This also feels like something you would do, Sue.
Question, Sue. Okay, so I'll be honest. If I was day 16, had not eaten, I remember how it feels at that point. I would 100% would have taken it. I would have been like so thoughtful, so nice. Absolutely, let me go over there. Like, definitely would have gone over. But I think that also just goes to show how like deep this was for Joanne. And I appreciated his honesty of like, it's really hard for me to like accept these types of things. I feel like I need to earn it.
Yeah.
So much so that when you are genuinely like absolutely starving, but also, if you get food, your brain's going to turn on. You're going to be better at challenges. There's a huge game advantages for rewards. He was willing to say no to all of that because there's like this values issue he has of like accepting something and maybe not being able to give it in return, feeling guilty. We don't know what it is. I'm hoping we find out, but fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it was. For a moment, I really didn't think he was going to take it. I really didn't think he was going to take it.
We were shouting at the screen for him to take it. Yes.
I was like, is he serious? He's going to let his pride. He's going to let his pride take him away from this reward.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he took it. I loved getting to see a little bit more of his like genuine human kind of like personal side, because we've seen a lot of the Joanne side that's like the goofy outsider, doesn't fit in, but this is like a very human trait that a lot of people struggle with. So it was really nice to see that they allowed him to like be honest about it, and that Christina gave him the opportunity to like talk it out. So I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to say, Joanne got a lot of screen time this week, right?
Joanne was carrying the edits in the strategic play, the emotional play, a lot of the things. I actually have written down here that Joanne is actually becoming a strategic threat, which is exciting to see. Now that he has some food, he's like able to think. And one thing I thought was hilarious is while they're doing this strategic talking amongst the losers, they missed out on a fried chicken meal and are having chickens cluck at them while they're starving. I was like, if that is not just twisting the knife, I don't know what else could be worse, honestly.
Well, you know what was funny? Because I remember the time for our season when Sam chose Andy and Genevieve to go to the sanctuary. So Caroline,
Operation Italy. That's where Operation Italy was born.
Absolutely. But that's when we decided we were finishing the rice, right? Wasn't that when we're just like, screw them, we're going to eat all the rice, and we ate whatever was left of the rice. So I was really surprised that Steven, he kept talking about those chickens, and even though he said he didn't want another chicken, like I would do it out of just wanting to
spite.
Well, you ate, so did we.
No, absolutely. There must be a deeper reason why they didn't go for the chicken. The fact that there's 2 chickens running around, I'm sorry, I'd be trying to have a chicken a day. Once you figured out how to actually help it get to the next stage of life, butcher it, defeather it, eat one every day. Oh my gosh. It must be intensive, which is why they haven't done it, but feels like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, no-brainer.
I think that it's definitely an emotional play because Steven dealt with the first 2 chickens with Alex. It took a lot emotionally out on Sage, and I don't think that Soph was going to offer up her skills to, kill a chicken. And Joanne is also a very emotional guy who was now pulled for the reward. So I don't think Christina was going to do it. So if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be Steven. And he's like, I've eaten 2. I don't need to kill something else. I think, I'm good. We'll move on. But One thing I wanted to talk about, you kind of start to see the seeds being planted pre-immunity because they don't know who's going to be safe yet, which I love. Kind of the plan change, everything shifts. Savannah is having this conversation with Soph, and I don't know if maybe I'm just an asshole or insensitive, but this whole I was a news reporter bomb drop that she thinks that she was doing, it was not that impactful to me, that like this big secret of being a news reporter. It's not like she was like, I won season 48, you know, like I don't know. I don't know if it was me that this moment kind of felt like anticlimactic, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I didn't find it had any bearing on anything at all, other than, you know, she knows how to talk in front of a camera and has experience with that. Right, Caroline? Did you?
Yeah, I think it's funny because like if you look at just like the facts of what she shared, I am a news reporter, means you're eloquent, means you probably give good confessionals, but like I'm sure they've already heard her speak in like
Yes.
in front of Jeff and everything. They know that she's eloquent. I think it just has to do with like what it represents, which is like I have a secret. I haven't told anyone. My middle name is Elizabeth, and I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
and oh my gosh.
My left foot is bigger than my right foot. Like, okay. Like, you know.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
You're special.
It's funny. It's kind of like in Survivor, it's almost like, do you know how to follow the social constructs? And it's kind of like, how do you use that in your favor? It was like, Savannah's like, I'm going to give you a piece of information about myself I will not tell anyone else in this game. But also info that if you leak it to other people, I'll know it's you and doesn't really hurt my game. So that was smart to kind of like, it was a good piece of ammunition to give to someone to help them feel special, even though it didn't really change anything. Mm-hmm. And Sophie did a good job reciprocating that like social strategy of being like, thank you. I'm so close to you. This is so special. Even though it's funny because like the information doesn't matter that much. What matters is it's almost like when you're dating, they knew how to play the dating dancing game to show that they were truly in it.
It's like when I reach for my purse, even though I know he better be paying for the whole bill. Like it's customary, you know?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that analogy. That is a great way to put that. There was no other huge kind of blow ups before the immunity challenge. So unless anybody has any other points that they want to jump into, I think we can get into this immunity.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Sue, how about you?
I'm good. We can keep going.
You ready to wear some shark teeth necklaces?
Yes.
So we were talking about this last week because they also had an immunity twist with the merge and all these things. We love an immunity challenge twist, whether it gives more necklaces, more opportunities for winners. I always think it's super fun, shakes the game up. And we find out that this week we are going to have one male and one female winner, which I think is so fun because it not only tests your strength kind of against everybody, but also within the people who are kind of directly being compared to you. Because in the game of Survivor, there's always going to be boys versus girls. It's just kind of how the game will break down at some point. But I liked this challenge. It was new. It was new enough, I guess. You know, it was still a hold this in place challenge, but we saw it with your feet. I liked the element of, 10 minutes, you can no longer touch anything. How do you think you ladies would have fared in this challenge? I would have been out. My core strength is about as strong as, one of those rolls of croissants that you have to pop open.
I think Sue would have killed it.
I think so too.
Last two at least for sure.
Well, for me, I feel, because I do so many like sports with running and everything. And I also, I'm a skier. So I think I do have some, leg strength. I don't know if I could have outlasted all of you guys. And I know Caroline, you've got the strong legs. You're a swimmer. You were going to the gym, like, I don't know. I feel like all of the girls, on our season were very strong. So it could have gone any way with any of us. I don't know.
I think it would have been a you and Rachel showdown. I think it would have been neck and neck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would try. But I don't know. It's hard to say, you never know with legs, with arms. I know I have the strong arms, but with the legs.
This is a lot of leg, but it's also like, it's all core.
Yeah.
Like sitting in that crunched up position, that like, you know, that 6 inch off you ever do those where you're flat on your back and you have your legs just
Yeah.
like
Hard.
yeah,
Yes.
I had a doctor's note to get me out of gym, so there's no way that I am doing any of that.
So you would have been first one out.
Well, listen, I don't know about first one out. I think my pride would be too dented to go out first.
Yeah.
But apparently not for Rizzo. Out of everybody overall, even Christina, Rizzo went out first.
Right.
Which, like, good job, Christina. Finally, the first immunity challenge where she was not the first contestant out. So I was like, go girl, that's my girl.
Do you wonder if, like, because Rizzo has an idol and safety that, you know, he cares, but he's not going to knock himself out? Or do you think he just wasn't strong?
I definitely think there's an argument of like, even if you have an idol or not, like, if you think you're not going to win, why burn yourself out to get second?
Yeah.
Like, in that point, yes, maybe you're thinking like, I want to look cool on TV, but like, just save your energy and effort for a challenge where you have a higher chance of winning. I think there was that. And Sue, your perspective too, where he's like, I have an idol. I don't think I'm going home tonight. Like, I can kind of let my guard off a little bit. I think those two things combined, like, honestly, why not drop out first?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. But at the same time, Rizzo is built like this. So I don't know. I think that it might have been a slip up and a strength issue, because I feel like if that was in his mind, he has no problem sharing every single thought that he's ever had. I feel like that would have come up in a confessional of him saying, I have the idol, I'm good. I don't need to compete in this challenge. But it's a very good thought. And now my brain is spinning. I'm like, have other people been doing this? Like,
well, I just think you have that little bit of safety, and you know, like maybe it's that lack of focus that was maybe needed.
Yeah.
To not make that little move that let it fall, you know, or something, because you're sort of feeling comfortable, and I think he's feeling very comfortable.
So, Caroline, are you an avid astronomy fan? Do you like space?
It's something where I'll be honest, I do not have the most space facts compared to other people that I know. But what was hilarious is I was watching this episode with my fiance, and my fiance is someone where he has one of the most phenomenal memories I've ever seen. Like, he will just remember facts like you would not believe. So as Steven is sharing these facts, Austin's like, yep, that's right. Yep, I heard of that one too. So honestly, I was just distracted during the challenge, like listening to Austin like know all of these fun facts. So I guess I'm a fan of like space by proxy. I'll learn about it through him, through Steven. And you know what? I ended this episode learning a lot more about space.
There you go.
There you go. You know what? We need the star. The more you know. You know, like I thought it was kind of cringy. Then it became cute, and then Jeff cut it off, and I was like, "Thank God, that's enough of this."
I fast forwarded through it.
Oh my God, Sue!
Okay. There is one part of this episode. Okay, this is like me being like a dorky Survivor fan, but like when Jeff told Steven, like, hey, listen, I need to move us on to the next part of the challenge. I just have to say, from my perspective, that was not Jeff, the host. That was how Jeff was like with us a lot off camera. Very much so. We're going to move things forward. I'm the boss here. I'm the executive producer. That was his manner and tone that he'd speak to us a lot off camera. So if you've ever kind of wondered how Jeff speaks a little bit, he definitely still speaks to us like a host. He is excited. But from a logistics perspective, very on brand from him. Yeah. Like that little.
He's like, the cameras are rolling, Steven. Shut up.
Yes. Like, all right, guys. Like he honestly, there's a lot of times where Jeff, like, he kind of acts like your boss, and like, or like the person above your boss, and like,
he kind of is.
Yes, because he literally is.
But he also likes to be talking through our challenges. He likes to be commentating, saying, "Oh, you know, Caroline's going strong and Sue's slipping, or so and so shaking." Like Jeff likes to run the show. Right. And he needed to shut him up.
Yeah. I think Jeff's ego was dented a little bit, that Steven was able to sit in that position and spit out facts. But yeah, I thought it was cute. It was a good look into Steven's mind. It was a good distraction for his fellow competitors. How do we feel? There's two things I want to bring up about this challenge. One was that Rizzo, three things. One, that was Rizzo went out first. Two, being Jawan's full body shaking and unwillingness to give up. And 3, this feud between Soph and Sav. Is it arrogance? Is it mind games? Is she just being a girl boss or a bitch? Like, and saying, I'm not dropping. I'm not dropping. You know? So I would love to get some feedback on these moments, because when I saw the moment specifically with Sav, I was like, ooh, that left a bad taste in my mouth, but I was also like, okay, and then she won. So I was like, you know, period. You know,
I feel like you're used to in those moments, the person who does that does not tend to win, because it's pretty much a huge sign that they're about to drop. Like, you could tell she did a good job controlling her voice, seeming like she was okay, but you know, if she's trying to negotiate, she's not okay. So honestly, I was shocked that she won. Completely agree. And I'm with you, Nick. I'm not the biggest fan of when people try to negotiate immunities and stop. It feels like against the ethos of it. Like, normally I'm all for strategy, but that's like, oh no, just it feels impure. It's not how Survivor's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Granted, it did remind me quite a bit though of like Parvati and like Australia versus the world. Parvati, I feel like from the episodes I saw, was very into negotiating those, which again, for me, no matter who it is negotiating, I'm not a fan of it either. So,
yeah,
but it worked out.
because the challenges for me are very like put up or shut up. Like, you can either do it and beat everybody, or you can't and go sit on the bench. Like, this is not the time or place for documents and contracts. Like, shut up. Everybody shut up. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm a Survivor purist. I don't know. Speaking of Survivor purists, Caroline, we've been asking everybody, how do you feel about Uncle Jeff? Uncle Jay, Uncle Jeff.
So I also like to think of myself as a Survivor purist. I get irritated when I feel like people do things specifically just for the edit. And I feel like people keep saying Uncle Jay, Uncle Jeff, all these things to try to have like a vibe with Jeff for the edit. Like, it just does not feel genuine to me.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's like I'd tune it out to get to the real meat of the show.
Yeah.
Trying to have a moment. The same thing we always equate it back to Jake in the beginning of the season hiding left shoes. Like, it's dumb. It's dumb. Like, stop trying to force a viral moment. It feels very Mean Girls. Like, fetch is never going to happen. You know, like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Mean Girls, but the gays that watch this podcast will get it. Trust me.
Absolutely.
But it was interesting. We do see, though, that our winners of the day are Savannah for her second immunity challenge in a row for the ladies. And for the gentlemen, we have Steven, which I was happy to see. I think Steven's kind of being overlooked, and I like him. I don't know. I think he's a cutie. He looks like Jonathan Groff. I don't know if anybody knows that actor, but he's like spitting image. It's kind of scary. But they did go for 40 minutes, the ladies, which I was like,
crazy.
Period.
Yeah, that's
all of the men were like long gone on the bench. And this just goes to show you that women are better than men. And I'm
absolutely
putting my flag in the sand on this podcast episode officially.
Yes.
But it was cool to see. So I don't know. There you go. That's the immunity challenge all wrapped up. Any other points? Any other big moments anybody wanted to talk about?
I'll just say I thought Sophie was such a badass, the way she was like ignoring that like little negotiation. I loved how she handled that. And you know, I actually do hate it because I feel like the reason she dropped was because she lost a little bit of her focus. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a strength thing. I think Sophie could have gone all day. But like, I just loved how she approached it. Made me so happy. And even like the challenge before, when like she lost to Savannah, but like you could tell she gave it her absolute all. I have so much respect for like Sophie, the challenge beast.
Yeah, I do too. She's very, very classy in that way. It was almost like she kind of rolled the window up and, you know, just kind of like tuned her out. I agree. I like that a lot.
And I don't think that in the very beginning, when this first started, any of us would have thought that she'd be the beast that she is. I don't think anybody would have.
Both of them, honestly, Savannah and Sophie both. And we touched on this an episode or two ago about how Sophie being the one to win the first challenge and not getting a confessional from her until episode 4 is kind of insane. So like, again, that continues that now she's in the edit more consistently. And I honestly think that she could be taking up more of the edit unless they're just missing the emotional piece of her backstory or something. I don't know. But I do feel like just based on how she's performing and how much she's been talked about, she's not in the edit a lot, which is weird to me. But I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but we always say that she feels like she has a very similar edit to Genevieve in the beginning of season 47. Like, we didn't see anything from Genevieve, and then she was this like strategic mastermind for 5 episodes, and then she went home. Like, it was crazy. But speaking of strategic masterminds, we have a lot of people on this beach who think they are one. We have Rizzo playing for Alex, Alex going for Rizzo, Juwan and Sage figuring out which one they're going to go for. Do we split the vote? Do we keep the vote on one? Do we force the idol? All of these things, all happening before the sun has to set. And it was kind of jumbled. There was a lot of like back and forth, which is going to happen, of course. It's Survivor. But I feel like a lot of the pre-tribal portions of the episodes, we've talked about this, have felt very confusing. I don't know if anybody else has felt this way. Caroline, if you felt this way at all. Like, it feels like a lot of back and forth, and a lot of people are saying a lot of things, but they're saying nothing at the same time. And then we get to tribal and we're like, what is going to happen? Like, and not in a what is going to happen, in a what the F is going on, like, kind of way.
I definitely think it's been tricky to tell with the way that they're answering in these tribal councils exactly what is going to happen. It is fascinating from like a player's POV, because like I feel like the approach that I took and a lot of people our season took was you try to approach your tribal council answers to what the person who is going to be blindsided would think that you would say. So I'll be honest, when I gave tribal council answers, I kind of tried to not really reveal my cards and be ambiguous or answer things in a way that would like appease the person who I was trying to blindside. So I feel like when I'm listening to tribal council, I'm not taking too much at surface value what they're saying. I'm more curious about who is it that they're trying to appease, who's going to go home. So that's kind of how I try to figure out who's going to go home in these episodes based on those answers. And if there is someone who is being too transparent about who they're voting out, and then that person goes home, I take it as a red flag for them strategically, personally.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great way to look at it. I never thought of the tribal council answers as being catered to. I've always thought it like not being catered to, but being catered to the person who's leaving is not really something that in my brain
before tribal councils is like, remember, how are you going to act at tribal? Rome is going home. He thinks it's Saul. He thinks it is a personal decision. We're getting rid of Saul. So at tribal council, all of us were talking about how this was a very personal decision. Granted, it kind of was because we didn't like Rome, but I feel like if you were to see it on TV, you would think we were being honest, but in reality, we were saying what we thought that Rome would want us to say. So it is our season, especially, I can't speak to others. We were very intentional about the role we were playing in tribal council.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Sue,
Caroline, I just want to ask Caroline a question. If you were on this season and you weren't in alliance with Rizzo, would you have been trying to get him out because he has the idol?
I would try to flush it. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it appears that, like, I try to see through the edit too. I think the way that Rizzo operates on the beach, it's not necessarily clear all the like strategic maneuvering he's doing. He's doing a good job of hiding it in person. But I'm sorry, he has an idol. He's not in your alliance. You should be doing everything possible to flush it. So like, I can't believe they didn't flush the episode, like the idol last episode. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
But especially with this one, I was trying to think through that. Like, let's say Alex, or no, let's say Juwan and Sage and Sophie really did want Alex gone, but they like kind of wanted to keep their options open with like, you know, Rizzo, Savannah, and all of them, Sophie. I wonder if they could have done something like, listen, I'm not confident in the numbers. Like, I know that you think you have like Sage and Juwan, or I know you think you have Sophie, but they're really teetering. I think we're all going to vote you, Rizzo. You do have to play your idol, but Rizzo, play it on yourself, because I promise you, I'm being honest with you. They're not voting for Sophie in the split vote. It's you. But you got to play your idol. And if you do, Alex is going home. That's how I think you play it, where you show that you are working with Rizzo. You're playing it safe. You want to be with them.
Yeah.
But
it's in his best interest.
Yes.
And no matter what, it's in your best interest to have him not have the idol and you find it yourself. So I think that's a way that I wish that they played it potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that they haven't done more to try to get him to play it, because that drove us crazy when Genevieve had her. We thought she had an idol, and like it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is the argument of like, it's better the devil you know, but it's still the damn devil. Get it out of here,
Yeah.
Like I agree with you. I feel like my number one priority and focus would be on not even getting him out, just getting rid of that idol, because then at least I have a chance of finding the next one. So there were some other tribal key points I wanted to kind of like run through. Savannah taking credit for the cross-pollination of Survivor 49, which I think is such a crazy statement to make. And like, what? Like, you are not the reason that people are talking to each other. Like, I don't know. This is where the cautiously a fan point kicks in with Savannah, because I really like her. She wins the challenge. And then I'm like, but now you're saying some crazy shit. Like, what does that even mean?
You can say that in confessionals. Don't say that. Like, okay, well, first I have to say, Nick, I agree with you. I do not think she's the reason for cross-pollinations. I don't know how she got that impression. But then also, let's even say she's feeling that she is. You say that in confessionals. You don't say that to everyone else there and brag and say, I did all of this. Look at me. Like, at best, it's going to irritate people. It's not going to impress anyone. No. And at worst, maybe then it just increases like your threat levels that people want to get you out sooner. I saw no benefit from her saying that.
Yeah. Telling people that their gameplay that they're working so hard to achieve is partially responsible because of her, I would be so offended, honestly. I would not be happy with that. It's like when you're already going to unload the dishwasher and then someone's like, will you do the dishes? It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it. Like, because I was already thinking it, but now you're telling me I'm thinking it. So it was a very strange moment, almost as strange as Steven offering up a kangaroo metaphor when he didn't have one. Like, Jeff is not going to go with space again. It's Jeff. He wants the new one. So I don't know. That was so cringy to me when he was like, well, I don't have one. And I was like, well, you're going home right now. So you're done. But other than that, I was shocked that Rizzo didn't play his idol again and that he was right again, which is even more frustrating because it's like, you know what? He must know something that I don't.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is happening? Why isn't he playing this? Why aren't they working more cohesively against a threat to everybody? That idol is a threat to everybody, regardless of alliance lines. So it was really, really interesting to see that Alex was the one taken with the tsunami this week, How do we feel? How did we feel about Alex, his departure, and kind of overall? What did we think?
Go ahead.
I'd love to hear your thoughts. Oh, okay. It's one of those things where it's almost like, I feel like we're all kind of alluding to it. Like, I can't tell if it's because of phenomenal gameplay on Rizzo's side or bad gameplay for everyone else. That's the part that I think I can't figure out, where I'm like, I'm so impressed with Rizzo. Like, the balls that he had to not play as idol, I don't think I would have had those. I would have last episode, this episode. Like, even if I felt really confident and aware, like the fact that that there's such a good reason to get you out, it's tough. So I'm impressed with that. But like, you know what, actually? Okay. It's Alex going home. I was bummed. So funny enough, like Austin, like adores Alex. Like
I like Alex too. I like Alex.
Like, he seems like a great guy. And it's crazy that like, it doesn't seem like his gameplay was that cagey. It's not that crazy to play the middle. Everyone plays the middle. Sophie just played the middle.
Right.
It's more to do with how crazy it is that I do think in this point, Rizzo is just so good at convincing everyone that was a big enough threat to everyone else's game. Like, I'm sorry, Rizzo is a way bigger threat than Alex.
Big time. Big
And
time.
he's playing the middle. Use him for you. Like, that was pretty wild to me that he was able to pull that off. But I was fun to see Alex go.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
I was sad, I really like same Caroline, like I was shocked that there was only one vote, not 2 votes on Rizzo. Was it 2 votes?
Yeah, it was really between Soph and Alex, which is kind of sad to me because they are the last 2 Kella, and it's kind of like breaking up the band officially.
Yeah.
Soph
Yeah.
is the last Kella standing, which will make for a great final tribal pitch if she makes it there. So I'm excited to see that. But
Yeah. No, I absolutely was. I was very excited because I thought it'd be so cool that he was cocky enough to not play his idol, that I was hoping he'd go home with the idol. More so just because of that reason. And I was shocked that they didn't take him out.
Yeah, me too. But I feel like, unfortunately, like on season 47, at first, I really did not vibe with Rome. I really did not vibe with Rizzo. But now I feel like there's a small piece of me that's like, this arrogant son of a bitch. I love it. Like, I love it. Like, and it's working. It's the same thing with Savannah in the challenge. Like, she was taunting Sophie and then she won. Rizzo was making this big plan and then it worked, So
Yeah.
you can only beat the player, not the game.
They're playing. They're definitely playing.
Yeah. Well, that's season 49, episode 9, wrapped up in a bow and snuffed by Jeff. And it was a good one. I think each episode is getting better. I think, like you said, Caroline, the cork is kind of out. The aroma is flowing, and this season is finally cooking with some gas. We were worried in the beginning. We were a little worried in the beginning, but it's definitely heating up now. I would like to say thank you so much for joining us. You welcome back anytime. And if you're ever in Philly, drinks on Reality Check. We say that to everybody. Come get a drink. And yeah, we love you. Be sure to check all of us out. Check Caroline out on social media. I will have all of those beautiful links down in the comments, in the description. And you know where to see us every week, recapping your favorite show with your favorite people on Reality Check Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of those apps that you spend too much time on every single day. And be sure to check out Sue as well, SueSmay.com for all the latest happenings. Pretty sure there's going to be some pretty big things coming from Sue soon. So keep an eye out and we will see you next week. Thanks again, Caroline.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Love you,
Bye,
Caroline.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.